Welcome to all the learners out there to YuktMind's initiative 10 minutes and newspaper done. This initiative is our sincere attempt to save your time and increase your productivity of the day by finishing the hour-long newspaper in few minutes. So let's get started. We have selected 8 articles from today's newspaper. You can read the headings of the today's articles. You can also download the PDF of this video from our Telegram channel and website Daily Current Affairs tab. First news. The Chham dance is lively masked and costume dance associated with some sects of Tibetan Buddhism and Buddhist festivals. The dance is accompanied by music played by monks using Tibetan musical instruments. It is believed that Chham dance is performed to exorcise evil spirits and demons. Now, there are various varieties of this Chham dance like Hemis Chham, Singhi Chham. Singhi Chham is a Kanchenjunga dance, which is a Sikkim lion dance, in which dancers wears lion costumes to depict the snow lions. It is also a folk dance of Ladakh. Chhams often depict incidents from the life of Padma Sambhav, the 9th century Nyingma teacher and other saints. Second news, National Technology Day is celebrated annually on May 11th in honor of India's scientists and their accomplishments. The day commemorates the successful nuclear detonation tests in May 1998 in Pokhran. For making the Pokhran nuclear test memorable, our former PM Atal Bihari Vajpayee instituted this day in 1999. The Technology Development Board chooses a topic for the event each year. This year, the theme is School to Startups Igniting Young Minds to Innovate. Third news, the World Health Organization declared that Mpox no longer constitutes a global health emergency on 11th May 2023, almost exactly a year after the disease formerly known as monkeypox started spreading. Now, monkeypox is a viral disease that spreads through direct contact with bodily fluids and was first observed in human in Democratic Republic of Congo in 1970. Last May, WHO declared it to be Public Health Emergency of International Concern (PHEIC). Fourth news, the Indian Council of Medical Research under the Health Ministry and the Ministry of Ayush signed a Memorandum of Agreement MOA to enhance collaboration and cooperation in health research in the field of integrated medicine. Joint efforts will be in place to conduct high quality clinical trials on identified disease conditions of national importance with promising integrative therapies to generate evidence for wider acceptance. Now, this initiative is to combine both modern science and our Ayurvedic science, which will be good for solving diseases like tuberculosis or even bigger diseases that country is facing. Fifth news. High rate of doctors quitting government jobs. Haryana forms panel. Amid the growing trend of specialist doctors quitting government service in Haryana over the past few years, the state government has now set up a 3-member committee to elicit and evaluate the reasons for the high number of resignations. Now we have heard several violent incidents on doctors, especially since COVID-19 pandemic. Recent one being in Kerala, where 23-year-old doctor was stabbed to death by an alcoholic accused brought by police. So there is a lot of dissatisfaction in the doctors community going on. Sixth news, Delhi government has control over officers, says Supreme Court. Now this news comes under the topic functions and responsibilities of the union and states and issues related to federal structure, which comes under GS paper 2 of mains. Now what happened here? The Delhi government had approached the Supreme Court amidst a scenario in which civil service officers were directly pushing policy files directly to the Lieutenant Governor rather than consulting ministers of the Delhi government. So ministers of Delhi government felt bypassed. The Supreme Court in its judgment gave the Delhi government power to make laws and wield control over bureaucrats deputed to its departments while declaring that civil services officers are politically neutral professionals who serve the people and not parties. A constitution bench, however, reiterated that National Capital Territory of Delhi would not have the power to legislate on public order, police and land. These three items of the state have been taken away from NCT since it's a union territory. The Union and National Capital Territory of Delhi shared a unique federal relationship. The National Capital Territory of Delhi cannot be subsumed as a unit of the Union. In the spirit of cooperative federalism, the Union of India must exercise its power within the boundaries created by the Constitution. The Supreme Court clarified that the Lieutenant Governor does not have sweeping executive power over the national capital. Supreme Court held that the LG can exercise executive power on behalf of the center only in the three areas: public order, police and land in Delhi as mentioned in the Article 239 AA Clause 3 Clause A. If the LG differed with the Council of Ministers of the Government of National Capital of Territory Delhi, he should act in accordance with the procedure laid down in the transaction of business rules. However, in case Parliament enacts a law granting executive power on any subject within the domain of NCTD, the executive power of LG can be modified to the extent provided in that law. This means that any change in the LG's ambit of power should be supported by a parliamentary legislation, which is subject to judicial review by the court. And we all know judicial review is the basic structure of the constitution. Seventh news, Supreme Court ruling on Maharashtra government. Now, background is in a unanimous judgment, the Supreme Court held that then Maharashtra governor's call for a trust vote, which led to the resignation of the Uddhav Thackeray-led Mahavikas Aghadi government last June, was illegal. The court noted that the governor was not justified in calling upon Mr. Thackeray to prove his majority on the floor of the house because he did not have reasons based on objective material before him to reach to the conclusion that Mr. Thackeray had lost the confidence of the house. Now, can the Supreme Court decide a disqualification petition? The Speaker is the authority to adjudicate petitions for disqualification under the 10th schedule. But the petitioners wanted the court to give its decision on the issue of disqualification of Mr. Shinde. However, the court said it cannot ordinarily adjudicate petitions for disqualification under the 10th schedule. The Speaker must decide disqualification petitions within a reasonable period. It was also underlined in Kyoto-Holon versus Zekilu case. Now, what is the court's ruling on the role of the political party in relation to the legislature party? The court ruled that direction to vote in a particular manner or abstain is issued by the political party and not the legislature party. The court said both the whip and the leader of the party in the house should be appointed only by the political party. Supreme Court also says that governors can't play a role in intra-party disputes. Neither the constitution nor laws enacted by parliament provide for a mechanism by which the disputes amongst members of a particular political party can be settled. So it is an intra-party issue which can be solved by the leader of the party, and governors cannot interfere in intra-party or inter-party issues. Now, there have been many questions on disqualification power given to Speaker under the 10th schedule. So, the court recently decided that the judgment in Nebam Rabia case, which held that a speaker who is facing a notice for removal from office should not adjudicate a disqualification matter under the 10th schedule, should be reconsidered by a larger bench. So, they are now reviewing the 2016 case. Speaker can be removed under Article 94 for Lok Sabha and Article 179 for the Assembly. Now, such motions to remove a presiding officers have become a ploy to circumvent disqualification proceedings of 10th schedule, where Speaker is the authority. So now anybody can move the no confidence motion to preempt the Speaker from deciding on the disqualification petition. Eighth news, stalemate over the US debt ceiling. Now, what is this? Federal government in USA spends more than it brings in. It runs up a budget deficit. So it has to borrow money to meet its financial obligations, accruing debt. The government borrows by creating and selling debt securities like bonds to US investors, companies, banks, foreign investors, countries, etc. In 1917, Congress created a limit on borrowing, that is $11.5 billion, thus creating a debt ceiling which can only be approved by the Congress, that is House and the Senate. While the government continues to receive taxation revenue after hitting the debt ceiling, it cannot borrow anymore to pay its existing bills, which can result in default of the US government. Now, debt ceiling standards have become an issue because Congress approves programs for which it does not have the entire funding. And then there's a limit on how much the Treasury can borrow. to pay for this already approved programs. Economists suggest doing away with the debt ceiling, which does not contribute to fiscal discipline anymore and also risks the national and global financial stability. Now, what will happen if the US defaults? It could plunge the globe into a financial crisis, says Wall Street experts. They also say that it could lead to another downgrade of US creditworthiness by agencies, large scale job losses, weakening of the dollar, stock sell offs, and rise in the cost of borrowing for the US government. Thank you for watching. Keep visiting our website, Telegram, Instagram, and Twitter handles. Thank you.